Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to DevChatter episode 114. It is Monday, so hopefully you're having a pretty good start to the week. I know a bunch of you are probably watching Microsoft's Ignite event that's going on. S&B, you are watching a stream, but now that you've asked that, you can't ask that again. Anyway, because if you ask that while you're watching this video, you're going to be very confused. Anyway, hello, welcome everybody. Good to see a few people already in chat. I noticed a couple of people said hi. I am really hoping that Brendonius dude is in our chat, because I think... Hang on. Wait for it. Hey, there it is. Yeah, that was a joke. That's me. But I think most of you probably figured that one out. Hey, Katrina. Hey, S&B. Awesome. Hey, yes. I noticed the mods are just hatching out of their eggs. That's pretty fantastic there, Katrina and S&B. Glad to see that. And actually, I just realized with 6 months, I do believe that means that Brendonius is out of his egg, totally. So, hatched dino over there. So, welcome everybody. As I said, we're about to get started today. For anyone who was watching the announcements that I made, anything like that that I said before the stream, you may have seen what we are talking about doing today. So the plan for today is first off to review a pull request that we got from, hey, speak of the devil, from JSteph, who just said hi in the chat over there. And we're going to review that pull request. I guess I technically already reviewed it. We are running JSteph's code on the bot right now. It has not been merged in, but we are on his branch. His branch? Her branch? I guess I don't know. I assumed. Zoltralord, hey, welcome. Okay, so we're going to review that code really quickly. We're going to see what it does. We're going to watch it actually running here on our system. And then we'll merge that in and get started on our code for today. So, what I am planning on doing today is I would like to work on our game tracker again. The reason I gave a maybe is because I don't remember exactly where I left it, and if it's not in a great spot for the stream, then we'll do something else. So, quick phrasing for anyone who does not know how the stream works, things like that. My name is Brendan, this channel is DevChatter. All of you are part of DevChatter because our communication and discussion of coding while we're doing live coding here on the stream is what makes up DevChatter. Obviously, if you forget my name, it's right below me. And other things, feel free to say hi to the other people in chat. They are nice, but if you'd rather stay silent, you are welcome to. We will not force anybody to chime in. What I was alluding to when I said might not be ready for the stream, I try not to do stuff that's too boring on the stream. So, if it's like headbang against the wall and I think I can headbang against the wall for like 10 minutes and get it fixed, awesome, we'll do that on stream. Because it's good for you guys to see how debugging works, so I don't worry about when stuff goes wrong, because it's good to see that. It's good to see that, oh yeah, everybody runs into these same problems. We all do. And so that's actually really useful. But if I think it's going to be like, you know, 2 hours of me banging my head against the wall trying to make something work, then we're not going to do that on stream, because that's too much time spent debugging and gets less fun. Okay, so Will Bennett asks what my name was again. It is right down here. You can find it right below me. What is the name of our mascot? The mascot here on the channel is actually called the Chatosaurus. So, if you are a big fan of Chatosauruses, please have a ton of Chatosauruses. I think I might have made too many Chatosauruses. They're taking over the stream. Look out! Anyway, so that's our mascot. Yes, we do have YouTube. So all the archives of our videos end up out on YouTube, and if you ever forget any of those links to various things like our YouTube or our GitHub or our Discord, you can ask the bot by just typing in those commands. Aside from the fact that I think I might have taken away people's permissions to be able to run those, and I'm going to need to give you back those permissions, plenty of people in the chat can actually link to those. Thanks, Sushinator. Yeah, I'm hoping I don't bang my head against the wall for 2 hours, but we'll see. Sounds like I've given enough time for people to wander in. I usually don't like to start coding right off the bat because I know a lot of people will come in at the beginning, and then I'll just immediately, for like the first 15 minutes, just get people saying, hey, what's going on? I'm confused. What are we doing? So I think we've had enough time. I think it is time that we got started. So, step 1, review pull request. Also, if you are interested in contributing to the project, then feel free to send us a pull request at any point. Zoltra Lord, I have not given a presentation yet. That conference has not happened yet. I was just prepping my slides for it. Okay, so added functionality for showing previously guessed letters in the overlay. So this is a pull request that is going to improve our Hangman game that is in the chat. So let's take a look at the code. Whoops, that page is out of date. There we go. Okay, so first things. Inside of hangmangame.cs, we made a list of letters. That's a constant. I should say it's a string of characters, so right there. That is all the letters in alphabetical order. I'm fairly good with that, because I know what he's doing with it. And down here, all guessed letters masked. So taking all letters right here, and is that what our returned value is? String.join guessed letters masked. Yes. Okay. So here's what's happening. Taking all the letters that we've guessed, so we maintain a collection of every letter that you guess in the Hangman game, took that, turned it into uppercase, not turn guessed letter contains, so select that, return guess that to that or that. There's a more efficient way to do this. Okay, so basically what we're saying is return back X if that's the guessed letter, or return back an underscore is the concept here. So then joining all the guessed masked letters together with spaces, I assume so that we have that with a little gap, so when it displays it's a little more obvious what is there. We could alternately do this as a list instead of as a string, but this is fine. I think people will get the idea. Send all guessed letters. Okay, so send all guessed letters calls the Hangman display and sends it all the letters that have been guessed. And that, as we mentioned, is our getter that does the work for sending this. And those are the pieces to be able to send down this as a message. And then on the client, we have an on Hangman show guessed letters. So it has subscribed to the event that SignalR is going to send us. It's going to take this, it is going to call our Hangman game, where we've exposed a new function called display guessed letters, passing in the context and the list of letters that we received from the server. Then it's going to take that and here's where it added the new public function, and it's going to say display guessed letters is a function that takes in the context and a set of guessed letters, and it says create a rectangle, and then we're going to, so we started off writing in this gray color of all C's. Then we're going to write here in black text on top of it, and we're going to say the list of guessed letters all in a line. And since it's a set of letters, we already know the length of it, because that's not going to change, because it's just going to be 26 characters masked with which letters were used. So let's take a look at how that works. There are a couple of changes. The only things I'd recommend is really just a little bit of cleanup on this method for the most part. And even that's not that bad. The other thing, and this is on me, I need to change how we draw things in our canvas. So For those of you that don't know, there's an overlay that's actually just a web page that's over top of this whole screen right now. And essentially, we're drawing on that. And I want to set up some better controls for how we put those things on here. I want that to either be data-driven or config-driven or something like that, so that we don't have to hard-code it here in the JavaScript, and you can control where it shows up. Because right now, Hangman appears directly over my head, all the way at the top, and I would like it if it were right next to me. So that way it's more out of the way of the general content. But let's take a look. Okay. In regards to setting up EF Core for the project, I remembered in ASP.NET that you had scope as database context would exist per web request. I may have that wrong, but I'm wondering how one might determine the scope of a DB call. Zultralord. Okay. Yeah, so you set that up when you set up the IOC container. So that's how you set it up. Yeah, we have one, Will Bennett. Good catch. Do you have a feature flags built in for some of this stuff, like the Hangman overlay? So Binary Logics, we do not yet have feature flags set up for this stuff. However, we have set up a enable disable for commands. So while there's no feature flag to actually disable it from the overlay, if the command is disabled, then Hangman won't be able to be played because the command itself that triggers it is disabled. But yes, Binary Logics, that is the plan, is to make all the overlay stuff configurable. So, yep, that is the goal. It's just, you know, stuff that you got to build at some point. So, okay, cool. Let's try it out and see how it works. That's actually why I keep cooldowns on this stuff, because obviously that Hangman game that just appeared above me takes up a lot of space. So, as an example, you can see letters start popping up as we guess various letters. So I kind of want it to have a label of like guessed letters or something like that, but I think you guys can see basically how it's supposed to work. Oh, I know the word. Anybody know it yet? This one. That one only a major. Yeah, there you go. See, has somebody figured it out. I was gonna say you got to be quite the regular to know that one. Yeah, Binary Logics. It is a weird one to have a game overlay. That's actually when I want to shove it in this space that I've got right down below the stream. I think that would be a good place to have any kind of game feedback about things that are going on. In fact, I want to use that space for any kind of announcements and other stuff. So like pop up a little thing that says, hey, so-and-so followed. Pop up a little thing, so-and-so subscribed. So that the majority of events, triggers, that kind of stuff, you know, the U1s and everything, all that just appears in that little section. And obviously we can have stuff like a hype go over the whole screen. But that's the idea, is we want to adjust to that kind of stuff. So, okay, cool. So, as I said, not perfect. There are a couple of things that I would recommend changing. If JSteph is in here, you are welcome to make those changes, JSteph. However, I was just going to merge this in, because there's nothing wrong with the code here. I would just want to clean this up in a couple of ways. And basically, the changes I would suggest are, instead of doing a full... I would just do a lambda expression here. Instead of doing a full return with, you know, body and everything, just do a single expression in your lambda. And then the other thing that I would do is see, all letters, select the letters, and if guest letters contains one of those, I would do a guest letters any, so that in here you can do a case-insensitive comparison of the type, and not have to do a this uppercase invariant that's right here. So you can skip out of this and use our shortcut little case-insensitive change. So, JSteph, if you're there, let me know, and I will let you get to that. If not, then I will knock that out at some point. But for now, I'm going to merge that in, and that will be part of our master branch now. Yeah, no, I think it was awesome. I agree, Will Bennett. Great job, JStuff. And binary logics, yes, you can spend a lot of time messing around with overlays and scenes and that sort of stuff. Awesome. Sounds good, JStuff. That was a great first pull request. Well done. Okay, cool. So that is in there. Since we were already running on the code, I'm not going to bother switching over to the master branch, even though we've now merged that in and could switch to the master branch. I don't see that much of a need for it. So let's go ahead and start looking at our code. So for anyone who doesn't know, this is our gametracker project. And I am going to pull that on screen, which is right here. This is our gametracker. Yes, I know the home page on the gametracker is riveting and exciting. There's so much code on here. This application, for anyone who hasn't seen us work on it, because we haven't actually done it in a little while, what it's set up to do is allow people to record games. So let's say you and your friends play a game of Settlers of Catan, and let's say that let's say Joe wins, right? So you, Sally, Jeff, and Joe are all playing this game. Joe wins. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I taught the game, and we want to be able to record that. So the point of this is we might have one of our games listed as Settlers of Catan. We don't have it in here, and that's gonna get annoying. I'm gonna have to fix that stupid thing. And then what we want to do is we want to pick, you know, some kind of data with, you know, who played in the game, what game we played. In this case, it was game number 1. The people that played were just picked from this list. Now, this page here that we started to set up, this one is just hard-coded in, like, that data is just on this page. This isn't coming from a web service yet or anything like that. We just kind of wanted to set up the page because that's what we were building. But I think that what we should do is create an API controller here, have the API controller do a couple of things. First off, be what allows us to store these games when we actually create one. I guess it's possible that we could just have that be the binding from our page. We're on an ASP.NET Core page, so we could bind the model object to that, and that would work fairly well, I think. The reason I want to get an API controller set up for this is this. So let's say that I am entering that game and I get to this list, and you'll notice Settlers of Catan is not one of the choices here. Well, I'd like some way while I'm on this page to just add one and be like, oh, nope, Settlers of Catan isn't on here. And maybe Joe hasn't played here before, so I'm like, okay, I need to add Joe. So I need a way of quickly adding a player and adding a game. And so that's kind of the concept. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to be like the full all details about the player. It doesn't need to be full all details about the game, but just something simple of, hey, that one wasn't in the list, let me add it. And so that's the concept here. So I was trying to think, like, if you're going through this, what is the process going to be? So that's the idea with this page, and that's what we want to build. So simple, just think data entry thing. If you are working on a business application or considering using Vue, I am sure you've got some kind of data entry page where someone's going to need to enter in some kind of complex data. So that's what that one is. So, cool. Let me catch up on chat. Have you considered or planned to add any DevOps, automated deployments, etc. to the project? We have an automated testing, we have automated build and tests, but we do not deploy it anywhere. At some point, I would like to have this actually running on an application somewhere, but what I would like to do with that is I would like to have it so that essentially the bot disconnects and disables itself when you're not streaming. Unless you explicitly tell it to connect. So the reason for that is that I would worry that having a persistent connection to Twitch and monitoring chat and monitoring all the APIs and everything like that over on a 24/7 cycle would actually, burn a decent amount on Azure. As I said, I haven't tried it yet, so that's part of why I haven't put it there, is because I don't know what that's gonna do, and I also don't want the bot in chat when I'm not streaming, because that just doesn't make sense, right? I don't like. Now, if I did go that route, I might want to connect it to Discord, for example, as a 24/7 part. So you might always have it connected to Discord, but it wouldn't make sense to always have it connected to Twitch or YouTube, for example. So that's the short answer of that one. Okay, so gametracker. Let's take a look at, whoops, not that. Add. It's interesting, it doesn't have controllers at all. So we have pages and controllers. If I just add controllers, is it just going to suddenly work? I guess we'll create an API controller. And we'll call it value controller, because I think that's usually what... that's a name that a lot of people are going to recognize from ASP.NET's template. Now, this isn't the template one. However, I think a lot of people are going to realize that this is not a real controller and is just going to be like returning back a value. Public. I don't even remember what the value controller has. What is it, like a list of int or something? Get. Return new list int. Something like this, right? What, 42 and 1337? Those are two good integer numbers I could return. So API controller. Alright, let's give this a shot. Coated Beard, hey, welcome. And I see a message in the chat that I'm going to get to in a second. Will Bennett? Yeah, I need to get rid of that. That's annoying. Let's see. So that's API/value. Hey, perfect. Okay. So no work. I was able to add in a controllers folder, and immediately I have Web API controllers. So confirms what I suspected, and that is that out of the box, we actually already had all the MVC and Web API bits wired up in ASP.NET Core automatically. Now remember, we haven't added any controllers yet, so this is the first one, and I just added that folder. So everything worked perfectly. So love it. That is a testament to how well built ASP.NET Core is. So maybe that should be a property in your streaming interface. Which thing should be a property in the... Wait, hang on. Binary lot. Just thinking, since I would be more of a consumer of the project, I may deploy a production version so I can control all the changes going back and forth. Oh, so Binary Logics, you're thinking have an actual production version. Now, what you could do for that, if you wanted to run it that way, is you could just deploy it to your local IIS or something like that. Binary Logics, that would be a way to do that if you didn't want to toss it out on Azure. Because as I mentioned, I don't yet know whether or not we're wasting cycles. We haven't looked into that because we're not deploying that to Azure yet. But you could get away with that if you wanted to, and then it would not be the same as your development version. Reddick Boy, PRs is pull requests. So essentially it's people submitting code to our project. So we reviewed some open source, I guess, suggestions for code that should be in the code base. So probably the best way I could describe that. So I actually merged one in right before we started. It was my pull request. I didn't bother reviewing. It's the one we did on stream last time. So anybody that was watching on Saturday already saw that one. Okay, so our value controller works. I am going to... no, actually, no, it's pretty interesting. So a lot of people here are developers, so if you're not a developer and you want to learn, you should absolutely check it out. Let's see. So I wanted to disable this, which keeps showing up. So for some reason, even though I accept the privacy policy, it keeps popping this stupid thing up, and I don't know why it's doing that. So that's kind of irritating. So let's take a look in our startup controller, startup class real fast, and we'll take a look at how that's configured and see if there's something we've got weird that's forcing that to appear every time. This lambda determines whether users' consent for non-essential cookies is needed for a given request. True. What? Hang on. Why is that set to true? I'm really confused here, guys. Who in the world would... What? Ah, here we go. How to show consent only once. Thank you. There's no answer. We should get this guy an answer. When did he ask this? Oh. Issue was Chrome localhost not saving cookies? Son of a... What? Yeah, no, Simon, I know it's needed on every website, but here's the deal. Once I accept it once, I shouldn't see this again. Because that's the annoying part, is we're literally getting it every time. Yeah, it feels like it. So apparently that is caused by Chrome not saving cookies for localhost. GDPR cookie localhost. Nope. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. What happens if I just set this to false right now while we're developing today and I don't commit that change? Then what happens? Good! Alright, don't let me commit that, everybody. Yeah, we'll have to fix that one at some point. But I don't feel like digging into why my local Chrome won't save that cookie right now. That seems less than fun today. Alright, either way, now I can click around and that actually works. So, in our value controller, I want to set up a couple of things. First off, I want to be able to get the list of games that we're working with. And actually... players, maybe? Players, maybe. Here's what we're going to do. Players and games, players and games, players and games. Okay. So the value controller works. Cool. I'm going to get rid of the value controller. It will no longer be called value controller. It will now be called games controller. Controller, API controller. What does this get me out of curiosity? Model class? Hang on, game record, game review, where's a player? Player, core, model, player, and context, that one, sure. Player's controller. I'm going to try this. I want to see what the scaffolded version looks like. So this is actually going to come with a bunch of extra stuff. We're going to take a look at what it gives us. So ASP.NET's Web API Scaffolded Controller. Let's see. I've been in GDPR CSI mode today. Yeah, that's one of the problems. So in theory, GDPR can be good, but one of the things that's crazy is just the amount of work that it creates for developers is quite impressive. So okay, so here's what we got. It made get players, which just gets the list of all players. Get by ID gets a specific player by ID. Put player. Create a player object if we send it up. Post player. Delete player. Okay. I kind of want to get a search player. Fuel Snable, yes, that is fair. There's usually work for developers, but yes, you're right. We do need something to do. It's just strange when it's all of a sudden we have to revamp like all projects everywhere. Let's see. Get players. Instead of doing players by ID, because I think we're going to do that elsewhere on their own editing page, I'm instead thinking that this needs to be search players. That's what we're going to call this. Players, and an example would be players brand, and query. Query. Not huge on the name just because it's used elsewhere in C# for other meaning, but we'll find out. So find async is obviously not going to work. We aren't creating. Put player. We might do that one. Hang on. Post player we're going to do. I don't think we're going to put a player though. And I hate that it's called put and post on these words. Ancient Coder, this is not technically a new project, and good evening, by the way. This is actually one of our long-running projects that we're going back to, but you're right, it is not the bot. This is our game tracker, which we've only worked on a couple of times, so I wanted to get back to it. Oh, Fuel Snable, you're another Norwegian here. Well, welcome. We have a few here, if I recall. Okay, API, players, posting up a player. That's the player object that we're going to send up. Created at action. So that passes back their new ID, the player object. So this is what we're going to call if we need to add a new one on the page. We're not going to be deleting on this page. That'll be done elsewhere, so we don't need the control here just yet. Now remember, all these methods that got scaffolded in for us, we could recreate at any point. So when I'm deleting these, remember, this just came from a scaffold. We could recreate this controller easily at any point. Will Bennett, I do choose random words sometimes. Player exists. Is this getting called at all anymore? I don't think it is. I think that was probably a helper for editing and deleting, but we aren't doing those operations in here anymore. Okay, did we repository in this? Yes, we did. Okay, so in this, instead of pulling in an appdb context, I am going to use a controller, because why not? Repository, repository, repository. Although I don't really mind the DB context being here either. Pepsi Man, Zavixodian. One of these. I do have them. I've got my Pepsi sponsorship right now, S&B. And yes, Fuel Snable, there are some regulations that that are quite good. Repository.list, and I am going to say layer. If I recall correctly, this works fine with a null spec. It does. Okay. This one, we're searching. I'm going to fix that one later. So this is repository.add create player. And just to be certain, we are going to assign the result of create to player. Now, I'm pretty sure in create we're just taking that same one, but a lot of code has the expectation that you're going to get back the object when you create a new one. So you're going to get back the new one with a new ID. It happens in our case that I know that we are setting the value on that, but I'm going to go through the extra thing and do that. Call me crazy. Sourceify, we are building a game tracker that is going to help us record games. So games that we play against real people, potentially in real life if we wanted to. Okay, so that ought to work. Now, I don't feel like writing my own search piece just yet. So I am not going to bother with creating that just yet. So what we're going to do is this. I'm going to jump over to the I repository. Did we make this async or not? We did not. Can I specify that here? Oh, whoops. No, because it doesn't matter here. It matters on the implementation, whether or not it is. Doesn't it? And then it would return a task of list of T. And then in that one, it's just whether or not you await the task or not. Right? And then that and that. Okay. We might change that. That's the only implementation of this. So I want to say task of list of T. List async. I'm not doing anything crazy, I don't think, am I? The bot game or ancient code, it would be any game. So, for example, like a board game. The idea is you could add any game that you wanted. So if you want to record video games, maybe you're sitting around playing your old like retro console, and you want to record who won, you know, a game of Mario Kart 64 or something. You could record that data if you wanted, and that would be the concept. It's a pretty simple thing. This is, you know, not like, obviously in your day job you're probably not recording games, but the concepts are still the same. So that's one of the big things there. It's like, even if it's not the same exact scenario that you'd do in the real world, you do a lot of things like this. Okay, so what are we doing? DB set steel, and we'll figure out how we can make these be the same thing in a moment. See, spec is not even that. Yes, Will Bennett, you could record Scrabble with your grandmother. Or your mother, for that matter. Or your kids. I don't know if you have a grandmother, I don't know if you have a living mother, grandmother, or children. But that would theoretically be possible for someone to do that. DB dot we can only find async by values. We could change async. Alright, screw it. Not doing it. We're just gonna do a simple inline check of this for now. Sorry guys, I'm gonna go do that later. So just so everybody knows, we are going to wire this up to actually use a search engine of some kind and not just do a name check based on the name at some point, because it would be nicer to have a piece that could, you know, more easily figure that out, because I would love it if it were smart enough to figure out that a Dave is a David, for example, and return back Davids if you type in the name Dave, or like a Joe is a Joseph. So those types of things I'd love to have it figure out, which means we're going to need more complexity than just doing this. Yes, Will Bennett. No, so it's gonna do it later, because we don't need it for V1. That is not part of our minimum viable product, so no sense in getting it just yet. So the specification that we do want is a player... hang on. specification. Let's see which ones we have. Base entity policy, we have a game policy. And Frankie, hello and welcome. Thank you for following. Hopefully that means you're enjoying the stream. Create a derived type. We're going to call this derived type a public class player policy. That is a base entity policy of type player. In order to do that, we need to have a constructor that passes in the criteria. It's going to be a private constructor because we don't want anybody else creating these. Public static player policy. So player policy, and we're going to say by name. Search name. Search name. I would say by name, except that sounds to me like get exact by name. So I want like a get by name hand wavy, because we're like we want. So for example, we want gets names similar to the specified criteria. Example. Friend would find Brendan Yeah, I guess it's possible for one of those to exist. So example, Brend would find Brendan. There you go. So that is string filter. Awesome. I will look at those suggestions of new names in a second. You guys are awesome. How did you get the different window title colors in Visual Studio? Frankie! That is actually our document well. It is part of our extensions. So I will show you that in a minute. Let me check out what these things are in chat first. Search by name. Yeah, Sushinator, I kind of do like that one. Name filter. By name. Ooh, by name like. Ooh. Then if we ever get to the point where this can have like wildcards or something like that, there might be a way to do that. Okay, so return new player policy, and this is the expression. So that is player dot first name. Okay, so here's one of the reasons why we set up the policies this way. So again, initial version of how we do this. Yeah, so I'm thinking, Sushinator, that we might eventually do more rich filtering than this. But for now, what I want to do is this. I want to say first name, I almost want to be like starts with. And I almost need to... let's do this. Wait, this needs to be... hang on. Yeah, so there is a dot contains, right? But the problem with doing a contains on this is that's going to look by character. And then if I do the non-link contains, so let me remove link from the top just to make sure it doesn't use that one. If I just do this, contains, then the problem is it's going to look for that starting value. And I think we should starts with, but the challenge is we need everything to be lowercase if we're going to do that. So that's the difficulty. Yeah, thank you, Will Bennett. Yes, it's the productivity power tools in Visual Studio that are changing the tabs up at the top. They're actually they're grouped by project, so color is project, and then they're sorted alphabetically, I believe. So they should be sorted alphabetically and grouped by project is how I have mine set up. So can you not just force it to do a like behind the scenes? Simon. Will, I have not tried that, but that would be really awesome. I should consider that one. So anything I pin gets its own row, I think. Yeah, so that's actually a cool idea. Hang on, that is a great question. EF core SQL like. Alright, how do we get a like in EF core? I actually don't know that one off the top of my head. EF function, that's interesting. Did he make a thing for that? Or is that actually part of it, and I just didn't realize that was available? That's kind of neat. Either way, I think people are probably going to start with the start of their first name, so we're just going to do that. So I'm going to say... Whoops. Derp. Hang on. I hit a key I shouldn't have hit. Or p dot last name starts with filter. Now, in case they type in two names here, what I'm going to do is this. I want to say filter.split. I'm going to be nice. We're going to split on a space. We're going to remove empty entries. And I want to say these are search terms. So I want to say search terms.any. If I have any search terms, any or all, where all of my search terms, so every piece that they passed me, matches this person. Term dot so we will say p dot first name starts with term or last name starts with term. Let me think about that for a second. Does regex not work in EF? Will Bennett, I actually don't know if you can send a regex down into EF. If you can, that would potentially be useful. This is why everyone should start with T-SQL and learn all the whiz-bang tools after so many full-stack developers nowadays who can't write a select statement. Yeah, so Simon, I absolutely agree. I think every developer should learn SQL and potentially even Lambda calculus. I think both are very useful. Not that you're going to be developing with them all the time, but it's very useful, especially if you use Dapper, for example. And understanding what EF and then Hibernate or Dapper or anything else does behind the scenes whenever you use any of their code that does anything else, it's very useful. No, not that. Not that. I said the wrong thing. It's bag algebra, right? Bag algebra. Isn't that what I'm thinking of? Bag algebra? Relational algebra. I meant to say, isn't it called bag algebra? Maybe I'm misremembering. I think I said the wrong thing before. Fuel stable. Yeah, no, I just used the wrong thing. Wrong word. Remember, I'm speaking random words. Normalization in DDL is the other skill. That seems to have gone the way of the dodo. Yeah, Simon. So there is definitely some of that. So developers don't, fuel stable. Yes, I am allowed to shout out the wrong words while I'm streaming. That is totally a thing. It's printed in the streaming programmer's guidebook. Alright, so we do that. We're just going to say, hey, quick, make sure all the terms it either matches the first name or the last name starts with. And then before we apply the filter, I am going to do a quick to lower invariant before we run that. Not ideal, because I would love to have that actually be using my fancy equals insensitive. Oh, fuel stable. Oh, no, yes. So, yeah, in school, there's actually a lot of that kind of stuff that we actually did have to learn. Alright. We should just see if you run the SQL profile, what this ends up sending to the server. Oh, yes, Simon. That is a good question. I am actually not sure what this one's going to send to the server. It will have to figure out something for it, though. Hey, Kidanovskid, welcome! So many cool things you can do with SQL, CTs, Windows functions, so on. Sanitize the input. Brave Cobra. What do you mean by sanitize the input? I don't have to worry. So for this, I should not have to worry about SQL injection. I don't know why my brain wouldn't come up with that. We do not have to worry about SQL injection for this one. We shouldn't. Starts with term that. You guys really think SQL injection is going to come up on this? Oh, yeah, you guys probably all typed that like a while. Like, you guys must be on stream delays. I don't think that this is going to hit that. JSON injection? Yes, Fuel Snable. We're definitely going to get JSON injection. And a cross-site scripting attack. Totally will. Okay. So, anyway, here's what we're going to do. I want to use this thing. So, we're going to say player policy dot by name like query. What's that going to do if we run this? This is going to say where that is like that. I guess it's possible. Search term starts with that. Yeah, exactly, Will. That's what I was saying. I think you guys have a stream delay. Is because you chimed in for that, at least from my end, after I'd already said SQL injection. Let's see. Still not a huge fan of that. I don't like it, but it's hidden away, so we shouldn't see it. Let's give it a try. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to build this. We're going to take a look at the code. We're going to try running that the controller. So we were on the value controller. So we want to hit players controller. This should come back with all the players. There they are. And what is a query? So it's just type in whatever we want. So let's try Brend. Hey. Hey. No Johns, huh? Who else is in this list? Chambers? Well, how about everybody with an... just look for Abraham. That got us James. Because it was a C. We need some more players in our database so we can confirm that this works. So I'm going to add a second James. First name, James Madison. Washington. So George Washington. If I could type. And John Adams. Thomas Jefferson. So we have a few people in our database. Now when we search for J, we get James Chambers, James Madison, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson. WA gets us Washington. So what if I did this? James MA gets us only James Madison. We don't get the other Jameses. So perfect. Alright. Suggestion. What are we doing? Wheatlow, hey, welcome. No Calvin? Sorry, Binary Logics, I can add one in later. Currently stuck with Athena Presto sequels. I would rather be exercised. And Crazy Joe. Crazy Joe! What about... Whatever you do, don't add Wheatlaw. Okay, sounds good, we won't. Just a question, in order to keep the code coherent, I would not name one parameter query and the other filter. What's your opinion? Yes, I agree. I do need to rename that. Filter. 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 So I don't actually think it's a huge deal because they are fairly separated, but I also like the consistency and I like filter better. So, yep, good suggestion. What about our international friends who have one name? Simon! We don't support that right now. They can either be a first name or a last name, and we'll figure that out. We'll make one not required. And that's the best I got for you. We'll make one not required and come up with a nice way of handling that. Were this a real solution, I would agree we should absolutely be handling that. And it's something that we should look at on the channel because we can take a look at that kind of stuff. And yes, Brave Cobra, we definitely need to handle 3 names. Maybe we should just give people an unlimited number of names and they can use 1 or more names if they like. Little Bobby Tables. So, just to check, hang on, because I know you guys are going to freak out. First off, it ignored empty entries and did just fine. Second, what is it? It's going to be that, and then close that, and something like this. Honk. Oh, because it searched for that. Didn't it? Yeah. So it didn't do anything weird, just came back for the collection. Anyway. Brilliant article on the BBC the other year about someone with a surname Null. That is amazing. Or someone with a surname Undefined would also be quite fun. That's what option T is for. Simplified Chinese characters. Yes, yes, exactly, guys. we totally need to figure all this. Yeah, all these kinds of problems. Very important. We can't possibly continue working on this without solutions to all of these. We're not going to commit the games controller yet. We are going to create the player one. Oh, that's funny. Did it ever get committed? Maybe it didn't. If not, that's totally cool. Doop-a-doo, derp, derp-a-derp, derp-a-derp-a-derp. Game tracker, 2 branches. Yep, that's fine. Okay. Hey, welcome everybody. Glad you're here. We are doing a little bit of coding in C# right now. We're going to be doing some JavaScript once we get our C# together. We are setting up some web API controllers, so welcome everybody. Hey, hey, thank you for that raid. Come on in. Make yourselves comfortable. Feel free to say hi in chat, everybody. Why don't we spam some chattosauruses if you got them? Welcome everybody into the chat. We're nice and friendly here. So, here's what I'm going to do. We are going to branch off of this branch with a new branch. We're going to call it... Nice. Thank you. And I apologize about the branch name. I will do a better pull request name when we send that in. So, I read an article back, I think in Dr. Dobbs, about an author that had a flight attendant named Low Tech from the Philippines, I think. By the way, I realize Unix time will end around the time I am 60, so with some luck, a lot of money in... Very nice, Fuel Snable. Yeah, that would be a... Yes, Wheatlol, I assumed you were friendly. My bad. Sorry about that. Everybody except Wheatlol is very friendly here. So, we're gonna say creating a player API controller. Okay. A very, very simple one. Oh, yep, hopefully your stream was good. Thank you for the raid and take care. Hope to. See ya. Player purposes search players, so we're going to filter by name. We're going to pass that data back. So now, in theory, we could request that on the JavaScript side and get access to it. I think our searching worked pretty well for, like, basic searching, right? Because, like, someone might, you know, start typing by last name to try to find a player, for example, and that should find them just fine. And they could do like this if they wanted, that would find it. They could say like this, that would find it as well. They could say by a single name, they'll get back a few results. So I think that works. What's your opinion on conventional commit messages? By conventional commit messages, do you mean the ones where you say something along the lines of applying this commit will, and then your commit message is something like fix the XYZ bug or something like that, if that's what you mean. If yes, then yeah, I'm totally good with those. I don't necessarily follow that as a specific convention, but my commit messages tend to be pretty much those. I used to remind one with the title. Used in the Angular projects, and it can be used for automatic semantic versioning. Oh! I will, I'll have to look up exactly what you mean there. So, anyway, so that exists, so we can create those. On the game record recording page, it's going to... Okay, so on that page that we're looking at, so just so everybody's on the same page, so don't ignore the fact that the page is ugly right now. This was our default, like, wire-up thing. We need players to be searchable based on this list, and I want to do the same thing with games. So let's create our games controller the same basic way. We're going to do the same kind of little filtering trick, so that we can find a game based on the name. So here goes. Games controller. Started out like this. We don't want this to be the way it works, so let's nuke the games controller. Goodbye. We are going to add a new controller. Going to do the same thing. Web API controller with actions using Entity Framework. So creating this, we're going to let it create this for us. We're going to go ahead and say we want to bring back a game. And that's the data model class. That's a good name for the controller. We'll let this scaffold it for us. It didn't auto URL decode the input, which is quite odd, Wheatlaw. Okay, so there's our games controller that it automatically created for us. Sounds good, Binary Logics. Good luck with that. I am looking forward to seeing what you end up creating. So let's get rid of that. We don't need it. On this page, we will not be deleting games. We have pages dedicated to that, so we do not need API calls in order to be able to set this up. So, quick explanation for anybody who came in late. We have some basic pages set up that show us our list of games. Hang on. Let me fix the compiler error first. Okay. Compiler error gone. Sorry about that. Not even a class I'm using, but it will still catch that. Anyway. Wheatlaw, I don't know. Maybe. So anyway, so this code right here, this is just the basic scaffolded page from ASP.NET Core. So this is just an index page with a list. We can check out the details of our pages, we can edit and that sort of thing, right? We're going to have more details about the games eventually because we want to have things like images, but for the starting point, all we need is the game title. So that's all we're going to do right here for simple V1 minimum viable product. Next thing, so this is our page for editing, deleting, so this does all of our CRUD operations on games. Over here we have CRUD operations for players. Keep in mind, for players, all we've got right now is just first name, last name, and no other details about the person. We might have... Do we have email address? We don't have email address. No, we've got, like, nothing. So we might eventually have things like their email address. Maybe they have a login into the system, so there's an associated user account. They might have something like a nickname, for example, like, You know, maybe that's, you know, maybe everybody just knows him as like Big Joe or something like that, right? And so like, you know, you don't know his name, you might search for him based on that. So that's the concept. When we used to boost ourselves by going through people's names, most people are just... Nice, Will. Pretends not to be templated to like falsehood prior to believe about names in chat. Oh, you're talking about... I assume whatever you're talking about linking there, Wheatlaw, is all the things like the person that first off has a single name, or that names need to be a certain length, and there's all kinds of other things like that. Brave Cobra might actually be your real name. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Names can be there's not really rules about names, so we make a lot of assumptions. So I did first name, last name, which is a massive assumption, by the way. Massive assumption to put that in there. Wheatlaw is your real name. Well, that's kind of cool, Wheatlaw. Is it one name, or do you have more? Are you like Wheatlaw Smith? Or like John Wheatlaw, or is it just, you know, like Wheatlaw? So anyway, so we have those pages for editing that data. Over here is where we want to actually do the entering of a game that we play. So when we do this, you're going to pick the game that you played together. And when you do this, it's going to, you know, change which game you have selected. Number of players, you're going to add players by doing something like this. But I want to make that searchable, so we're going to search a list. So my plan is you search, we bring back a list of players, maybe in a little grid, and then you add the ones that are going to be playing, they get added to the list, and then you tick boxes for whether or not they taught or won the game, and then you click Record Game. And that's the concept. ThinkBot Labs, hey, welcome. Okay, so now that we have that, let's jump back over to the games controller again. I think I was removing all the stuff we didn't need. Get games, we do need get all games. Get game, we're going to change the name of to match our other one. So we did search players, so we're going to do search games. So search games. And this is not going to be an async of that, it's just going to be that, games. And this is going to be, you might search for Terra. Terra's a good suggestion. Filter. And that'll be string filter. That whole line's going to change, so I'm not worried about it yet. That is going to create one. Wait a minute, was the other one... Is it async? No. Is that async? Yes. Why? I don't know. Okay, what else? Either way, let's go ahead and change this up at the top. So I'm going to steal one of these, paste that there, import that type, put that here, copy that, paste that, repository. So we're going to use our objects for data instead of theirs. This is going to be underscore repository list game. So slightly different way of getting that. And then this one down here is going to be underscore repository create game. Game equals that. Don't need those because that's already done. Return back the game object and we're good. Come up here. Instead of searching for it this way, being an I, actually filter result, we're going to have context is going to change to repository. Instead of saying that, we're going to do .list, and we need a specification, so we're going to have a game policy dot, what did we call the other one? By name like. We'll say by title like. Because I don't think the other title does what we want it to. So let's call this, whoops, actually I just realized that returned player. This should be players. Equals null or players. Actually, I don't think that can ever happen. Can it ever come back with a null? I don't think it can ever come back with a null. Add the new open API policy to test with Swagger easily. Brave Cobra, that is a very good idea. We'll probably pull in Swagger to this project because we're using API controllers at all. I'm not going to pull it in just yet, but yes, we definitely should. I think list should never be null, at best empty. Yes, Wheatlol, I was thinking the same thing. I'm pretty darn sure that it already comes back as empty list, so that is a pointless check. Okay, and that should be by title like that. Create a method that is that one, and we're going to call this public status not an I specification T. It is a game policy. And Coover, hey, welcome. String filter. We don't need that. Derp. Let me go ahead and click that button that I don't need to click, huh? Base. Ooh, base entity policy. What? How is there not more than one? Ah, there we go. Player. Right. So, whoops. Put that in its own file. Derp. Base entity policy, player policy. There we go. By name like. Let me go ahead and temporarily steal that, and we'll see what ends up being the same. And whatever is the same is going to get yanked out as something that they can share. So. Import types for the pasted code. Wait, why was that getting stringed? What? Why did I do that? Did I have that before? I don't remember having that before. Derp? Yeah, derp. I derped something. If I said derp, that's because I derped something. Don't ask me, man. Game policy. This is not, that is game is title. Search term all. So. Whew. Yeah, so I don't know how I want to do this one. Yeah, so I do want to pull those. I should specify. And Ferris, welcome, thanks for following. P.total lower invariance start with search terms. This one I don't think works this way. I think we need to change this one. P.title. I think this one. To lower invariant dot contains filter. Don't think we want to split this one or anything like that. Hey, hey, welcome. Filter equals filter to learn variant game policy title to learn variant contains filter. No, Wheatlol, there was reason to do it. So we tested with that one. So it would be the idea that, like, let's say you're searching for someone whose name is Smith, for example, or someone whose name is James, right? So I do James, right? And it comes back with all the Jameses. I can then just say, like, James Mad, and it finds it for me. But if I were searching for last name, for example, do we have any duplicates on the last name? No, not really. Let's pretend that I put John Quincy Adams in here too. So I could search for Adams, and then I could be like, oh, Adams, you know, Q, right? And then it would find Quincy Adams. In this case, you know, J is the one I want, so it'd be James, John Adams. Sorry, I've been searching a whole bunch of Jameses. Anyway. The player, no Brave Cobra, but we can absolutely put some of those on there for our policy filters. Can you show the player-like thing? Yeah, Wheatlaw, that I was just showing that right there so we can get a nice example. But yeah, let's go put that in there. My title like. What the? T. Derp. Why was the T still there? Yeah, Wheatlow, I was just showing you guys how it worked. We will put a test on it. A test might mean more than one test, but it might be a single test case. It might be a single test with multiple cases. So... First off, that is game policy. This is moving that out of there. So let me get rid of that and that. So that is move player policy to own file. This one is create a games controller with a games policy. Actually, I'm going to finish up what I'm doing with this one first. So this is fix variable name and what is this? Non-accessible code. There's controller. Commit that. And this one is create. Let me take a look at the games controller before I commit this. Does it look okay? Get game, post game. That's not game, this is games. Switch game, so RG. Okay, so that is create game API controller. And before I do that, I'm going to do the quick manual. Try it. So there's all games, and this should get us demarker. Good. Okay. Perfect. Wheat is a 4-letter word. Sweet. So's base. Create game API controller. Let's go knock some of these out. Gametracker core. Oh, that is funny. Doop doop. Whoa, no. That would have been bad. Anybody see that? That would have been bad. Alright, so this is DevChatter.gametracker.unitTests. Ooh, Java. Yeah, Java's a 4-letter word. You guys gonna wait, man. Test the units. Alright. Here we go. We're not going to do... So test 1, we're going to run just because I like to confirm that our unit testing is working at all. So, looks like it is. And assert true, false. Okay. So I always want to make sure that my tests are set up correctly. The best way to do that is make a test that passes, make a test that fails, and if it works, you're good. Okay. Tests are running. Step 1. Let's get ourselves a folder. Let's call this core. Data specifications. Specifications. And then I want to do, let's start with player policy tests. Player policy tests. And I am going to do unit tests should be in the same project. Yeah, I like separating them out so we don't have to deploy the unit tests. But if you want to, you can. Anyway, by name like. Whoops, derp. Let's come down here. We're going to go ahead and say class. By name like should. We'll rename if we need to. Whoops, this is not ununit, Brendan. We are an X unit. I'm going to do that. Public void. Do something given something. I always start my tests that way because I don't know necessarily what I want to do with it. So this lets me, create a thing, be compiling, and then figure out what I want it to do. So by name like should do something given something. Yes, it should do something given something. So we are going to create new. Nope, it's just player policy. Add reference to a project, core, okay. Player policy. So I had to add that reference so that it can actually get access to this code and be able to run it. And I want to say by name like, and my filter is going to be Brendan. For now. So that is policy. We'll call this our specification. Let's do this. And welcome, whoever that is that just followed. Thank you for following. I will take a look at it in a second. Bruce Banner. Whoa! The famous Bruce Banner. Welcome. Hi. May I give you advice on commit messages? You should focus on the why and not the how. It is easier later on, even for yourself, to see what caused you to change the code. So, yeah, there's definitely some why. So, for like I fixed a variable name, there's not really a why, because I do need those that way. But yes, you are correct. It's more useful to know why you're making changes than just what the change is that you're making. Kind of like code comments at that point. No build project without no build project, also no project without tests. Yeah, well, this project isn't really here yet. I came in late. What's being worked on today? So, Mike, we are working on our gametracker project, which is one of our projects we let sit for a while. We're just getting the unit tests set up so that we can have some on here, and we were setting up some basic filtering logic for our data access so that we can access some data. Let's see. Okay. So here's what I want to do. List players equals get test players. There's my test method. I want to return back a new list of players, and in it we are going to just create a couple of quick player objects with first name and last name. And first name. Whoops, last name. Derp. I know the difference between my first name and my last name, I promise. Alright, someone said something in chat, right? Oh, Bravo33, welcome, thanks for following. Let's create Mike, Fraser, famous Brendans. There aren't enough famous Brendans. We'll have no name. And how about we'll flip this one. There's how we're gonna say Saint Brendan. Oh, and also don't forget about Brendan the Navigator, we'll call him. We're gonna reuse that one. There we go. So now when we search for Brendan, we should get a whole bunch of Brendans back. Who should we not get back? Fred Johnson. There we go. Yes, exactly, Wheatlall. I know the difference. There are more than 5 Brendans. Yes, Brave Cobra. There are actually more than 5 Brendans in the world. Oh! I just realized what I should have done. I had a former coworker whose son was named Brendan also. I could use that one. But that'd be weird to use a kid's name in a thing. So we'll just not do that one and say I didn't because I didn't. So where? And now because we did this, we can use this policy here. So there's our criteria that should filter that data set in memory. So that's going to be a var filtered players. Might be too many test players. We'll have to figure that out. Yes. Yeah, Wheatlall. If it's like it's like, so I don't mind using anybody that's here in chat. You know, like yeah, let's just pick a random person. You know, the void in the world. It's weird to pull someone that you know. Let's see. Fact. We're going to do inline data. This is going to be a theory. Inline data. We're going to say... we'll do those, which I think is a reasonable test. So string filter name like instead of Brendan, we're going to pass in our filter. Predicate. There we go. There's our predicate. And then not contains. Does not contain. Superman, welcome. It scores on your Google ranking if the code is on GitHub. Wait, what is this? Maybe yes, I could use my cats. Yeah, Will Bennett, it is right. If it's not my kid, then it's weird. Yes, my kid is not named Brendan. Let's see. Filtered players. Cert does not contain that. And is it the collection? No, expected is the first one, so... We want to confirm that it does not contain Johnson. If we're going to do this hard-coded like, right? That's the one that it should have removed in all of those cases. Equal. There's some other things we could check. We'll decide which assert we want to actually have in here. We want to say equal players dot length count, right? That's what we expect. So count -1, and we want filtered players dot count. And I'm going to to-list this as an in-memory collection. It's tiny, it doesn't make a difference. And then we're going to rename this test here in a moment. Once we get that working. Do something like that. Okay, so it is finding them. Assert does contain that, otherwise your test has no meaning. Doesn't assert that players contains it? Oh yeah, I could assert that that list contains it and this one does not. Yep, we could do that. We could say contains and do players. Whoops. Players select last name. So assert that that one contains it and that one does not. Oh, that does not need to be count like that anymore, so we'll run that. That we removed one, and it was that guy. Let's say, were all these guys first name? Did we Brendan the last name? Yes, we did. Let's see, returns should return filtered list a given single term. Okay, let's do this. Return filtered list given multiple terms. I'm going to call these terms. So we're going to get full names. So and we're going to mess with type on this. And I want to make sure order doesn't matter, so this one's going to be Frabre, and this one will be Saber. That'll be Joffer. Alright, so this should be a single one each and every time. Assert are equal. And let's have expected last name. Did we always have a last name? We always had a first name, so we'll say expected first name. So filter and expected first name. String expected first name. Gerfrabri? No, that will not work the way we've got it set up, Wheatlall. But we can do a test for that to confirm that it does not return anything, given one of those. So what we're going to do is we're going to say assert that the expected first name equals the filtered players single First name. So expected first name equals that. Okay. Return single result given multiple terms. Nice. Yeah, if I actually end up hitting stuff in another language, that's kind of funny. Entirely coincidental, I might add. Okay, so those work. I don't love having this like block of stuff down here. Rubik's. Yeah, it happens. We all hit those spots where we don't do a lot of side stuff. Comes up. So we want to confirm that it can definitely come back with nothing. So we're going to do a fact. Actually, we're going to do a theory. Theory, an inline data theory. You know what? I'm just going to copy the what above. Okay. I don't think I need as much data as it had, though. Let's say Michael. Well, there we go. And we're going to search for Robert. And these will not come back with any data. And actually, let's do a typoed one. So we're going to say Brandon. There's definitely no Brandons here. So not single result. Empty collection. Should return. Did I not say return? In that case, it's going on this name. Should return. It's going up there because they're all saying return. So simplifying the names, it's going to be up there. Should return empty collection single result given no matches. Given multiple terms, given single term. Expected first name is not going to be a thing. Assert empty. There we go. Predicate. And run it. There we go. Don't bash your Greek is Latin to me. What? Wait, lol? No, I was just saying it'd be funny if I accidentally got stuff from a different language. Because I do not know Norwegian, so if I happen to hit any words that are Norwegian, that is entirely unintentional. Okay, cool. So we got a handful of tests on those. Rubik's, no, we are going to be doing Learn to Code in C# series again. So for anyone who doesn't know, I need to get those scheduled. They will get on the calendar. Don't worry, I'll be adding them to the events section here on Twitch. If you're not on mobile, that link that I just posted in chat should work, and you can find out some information about some of our previous streams. We are going to be doing a new one. For the next one that we start up, Rubik's, I will mention I am going to start out as another beginner one. So we're going to go absolute beginner level programmer again, just so we can bring more fresh people in for that. And what we're going to do is we are going to set the, we're then going to do that reset, and then we're going to start off like we did last time, where we focus on some kind of concept. So in a previous Learn to Code in C# stream, we just went through all the various types of lists. We've done one where we went through all the different types of typing in C#, and these are focused on beginners. So feel free to invite someone that has never programmed before, because the next one will actually be one of those. And yes, Rubik's is correct. Every day technically is a Learn to Code in C# day, because we're pretty much always doing C# here on the stream. However, it's the level to which we're expecting people to be. And these ones, obviously, if you're our beginner, you can be here, that's fine. We'll try to, not lose you. But most of the people here on our regular days are, somewhere between absolute beginner and John Skeet. So, in terms of their knowledge of C#, I should say. Okay. So we got that. Let me get this committed. So not committing that. Wait, what is this? Oh, that's the new thing. Yeah, okay. I was just confused because it changed two things. Yep, we want to do that. And this one up here, theory inline. Add some basic. What is this? This was the player's player policy tests. Somewhere between int and int64 max value. Exactly. A big part of the coding is using the appropriate data structures. When are you going to cover those? Oh! Well, Bennett, that is absolutely a great one that we should do as one of our Learn to Code in C# streams. So as I mentioned, the first one is going to be an absolute beginner one, so we're going to start from scratch, assuming you don't really know how to program at all, and we're going to do another one of those ones. So if you are an experienced developer, once I get that scheduled, feel free to show up so you can help out with questions in chat if anyone has questions while we get started. And then the streams after that, we can talk about different data structures in some of those, because we do want to get people at least to have basic understanding so they can follow along at all. Fleisch, maybe you can make a stream about the tool you use and which you recommend. That is a very good idea. I should definitely talk about some of those on my streams. So I can get that onto calendar. Let me get you a link for the best place to actually make those kinds of suggestions. So if you do want to make suggestions for anybody here, if there are ideas that you want me to do a stream on, I just posted a link in chat. This is to the issues section for my stream info, which is just out on GitHub. If you have a stream you want me to do, I don't always get to them right away. As you can see, some of these have been sitting around for a while, but I have done some of them out of here. As I said, Rubik's, yes, there are some that we're going to do, but this is the place to make suggestions for these. So, okay. Let's see. Will Bennett, yes. So I tend to favor lists. You are correct. It's a pretty easy one. Read-only lists and things like that are also ones that I like when I'm actually trying to do my data structures correctly. Queues and stacks also work pretty well, and dictionaries. Hey, Wheatlaw, nothing wrong with linked lists. They actually are really good sometimes. And dev environment setup, that would be good, Brave Cobra. Yes, Wheatlaw, you should have said array lists, because clearly we want that one that's not generic. Exactly. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that next set of tests set up here. So we did player policy tests. I want to do a quick folder of game policy tests that are very similar to these ones. So I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to change it to, what did we say, by title like should. Oh, and actually that should have been renamed. Return. And then in this one, it should be by title like should return. And this should be game policy tests. Boom! Fixed. Okay. Should return filtered list given single term. I don't think that concept is going to work. So instead of players, we're going to use games. So we're just going to say game. We don't have first name, we have title. Last name's not even a thing, so we're going to replace... well, actually, let's just do this. I was like, yeah, we can do a little wildcard replace, and then I was like, you know what, that's going to take longer than just cutting this. Every once in a while, we developers try to get a little too efficient. Why is that complaining? Oh, because that's a list of these. I'm like, why is that complaining? Those are valid. There we go. Okay. Oh yeah, Will Bennett. Actually, my introduction to C# was also after the array list. So I came in right as generics were coming out. So I dodged that one as well. I probably would have I would have been running away from C# if I had come in before generics. So I'm impressed that it got to where it was. It takes a lot of faith that that language was going to improve. Not that it was necessarily bad, but there was some core stuff missing in the beginning. There we go. Okay, those are not the names. So this is going to be Settlers of... No. This is going to be Democker. That's number 1. That's always number 1. This will be Scrabble. And then Monopoly. Clue. Pandemic. What else do we want on here? Sid Meier. What do we... Railways of the World. And Terraforming Mars. If you haven't played Terraforming Mars, it's a very good game. Splendor. Ticket to Ride. Okay. Sample list set up. This is not getting players anymore. This is getting a game. This is not a player policy. This is a game policy. So we are testing game policies now, not player policies. And this is by title like, which I'm going to steal from right there. By title like, by title like, and by title like. Filters, I'm going to need to change. Filtered plays? Wow. I'm going to fix that. No one told me about this? Whoops. Plays. Maybe someone told me and I just didn't notice because I wasn't reading chat closely enough. Generics was one of the best times to be a .NET dev. The team I was on at the time literally went through our domain model and deleted every other code file. That's amazing, Simon. Yeah. Civilization of Sid Meier. Yes, exactly, Wheatwall. And I thought about adding it because there is actually a Civilization board game. Because I went with board games here. Generics were cool, but Link is what really got me into C#. Absolutely, Will Bennett. Link lambda expressions, that's where I think C# hit its stride. I still, it would be a nice addition to my iCollection language. Nice. Yeah, so, there we go. There is a Splendor board game too. You said Splendor in a no, Fuel Snable. Splendor is in that. It's in that list. Splendor, it's right here. That's there. Okay. By name, by title, by name. There we go. Rename. Fix. By name like should return file to match class and fix a typo. Okay, now let's actually make this work. I don't want to live on this C# planet anymore. I like C#. It's good, man. It's good. Get, test, games. There we go. Game policy by title like criteria predicate. And this is filtered games. filtered games, and filtered games. This is not players anymore, that is games. Yes, I'm going to search this file for the word play before we leave this file. We are pulling games.select title and title. So that's what we're verifying on those. This is game. Game policy games, title. Games, game policy, games. Looks good. Alright, let's take a look at these. I'm going to nuke all but one in each of these, and we can add in new inline data in a moment, and then we'll evaluate the names and see if we like them. So we definitely want an empty collection one, so let's make sure that we can do this. This will be Candyland. Ooh, does that work? I forget how we did these filters. We'll want to confirm that that works at all, but we'll just search for candy for now. Why did it search for string? Candy. So candy we want to have come back with an empty list. We'll check this. I don't remember how this worked. We may not need both of those sections. So we want to have... Which one do we want to include? So in this one, we just want to find the exact... Let's find only the exact one, or maybe more than one game starts with the same letter. Let's start with all the S games. So we'll have Scrabble and Splendor come back. So we're expecting to have Scrabble and Splendor. Can I do that? Is it going to yell at me? Oh, actually I should do this. Params string array. Oh my god, yeah. Expected. Oh man. Oh, that's glorious, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, you know you love that. That's beautiful. Look at that. That is beautiful. S, Scrabble, Splendor. This is expected. So... expected not count. Oh, this is an array. It was an array this time. Rendon length should be filtered games.count, so that should match, and each one should be contained. So actually, I think I can do a collection equals. Ooh, let's find out what they do with this. So this should be the expected one, so we're expecting that, and we want to get back filtered games.select g.title. I don't know what it's going to do with that. We're going to find out. Be entered given no matches. There we go. Zero Lash, hey, welcome. Did I miss anything interesting in chat? I see a bunch of people talking about stuff. The one thing I'm waiting for is non-nullable types in C# that will remove a good chunk of the code. Oh my god, yes, Simon. Nullable reference types. Being able to specify that a reference type is nullable means that we can then have non-nullable reference types. It is going to be mind-blowingly awesome for C#. Oh, all that code checking for null all the time just gone. We're going to be like, nope, you're not allowed to do that. We're going to get compiler warnings if you haven't set the value. It is going to be beautiful. We are turning that feature on the moment that is available on our projects. We're going to clear everything up, get rid of all of those stupid null checks that we had to do all over the place. it will be glorious. Glorious, I tell you. Alright, expected to actual 4. Ooh, because we looked anywhere in the word, didn't we? Didn't work the way I thought it did, I bet. Because I can't remember how by title-like worked. So we just said if it contains it anywhere. Okay, so let's take a look. What's something that we could look for? So let's do railways of England and, what is it, Wales? Did I spell Wales right? Or do they spell it like this? Is it like that? I feel like it's like that, actually. Wales. Yep. Second time's the charm. Okay. Let's see. Guys, stop saying monad in chat. Alright, hang on. It's going to be mind-blowing, but I think it's going to bring a worse hell than async. Wheatlaw, maybe. We'll find out. Wheatlaw's afraid of C#8. Nullable reference types, the $500 million mistake. I bet you'll take years to find and remove every null reference check. Cyrillash, that's possible. Not necessarily. Well, okay. In all code bases, yes. Not necessarily the ones on the stream. Waiting for that. Yes, I agree. Sourceify. Is there a way to get a free limited access to Azure? I don't need it under subscriptions. Mobabo, yes, there is a way to get some free limited access to Azure in a handful of ways. One of them is that you can. So first off, there's MSDN credits that you could potentially use. So if you actually already had MSDN through something like work, you could potentially use them that way. And I saw something recently about it, some way to check that. So. If you're not on our Discord, hop over on our Discord and check it out. Ask that question again over there, because I think there is a way to get some Azure stuff, and I will look at it later, because I saw something about that. Will C#9 be the mainstream language with dependent types? Fuel Snable, I have no idea what they've got planned for C#9. Alright. That's weird. I didn't mess with the bot. I don't know why the bot reconnected there, but derp. Anyway, so we made railways, and we want... Well, actually, there are too many of these. Hang on. So, too many. So, Democker, Scrabble, Monopoly, Clue, Pandemic. We're gonna make Pandemic and Pandemic Legacy. That's what we're gonna do. So, Pand will get us Pandemic and Pandemic Legacy. And then in addition to that one, we want a couple of others of these. Is there another Ticket to Ride? There's Ticket to Ride Europe. I wonder if there's something... Oh, Pandemic Legacy, and you know what we're going to do? We're going to create Risk and Risk Legacy. Risk and Risk Legacy because it exists. So now we can search for Legacy up at the top. So we're going to say... and actually we're going to do it like this. Legacy. So this is going to be... Pandemic Legacy and Risk Legacy. There we go. Okay, awesome. Bot gone wild. No, I don't think so. But let's see. The free trial has a $200 credit, and you get a bunch of other stuff free for a year. Ancient Coder, great suggestion. There's also, if you're starting out a new company or something like that, I believe they still have BizSpark, but I don't remember the details on that. So if you have BizSpark, that would be very useful, so take a look at that. Will this project somehow be linked to the game programming that you are planning on next year? Steph, this is actually going to be related to a stream that we are going to be doing next month. So unlikely to be connected to the game programming that we're doing next year, though. So that'll be different than this one. Race for the Galaxy is another fantastic game. I love Race. It is great. Okay, so looks like our code works. We get that when we want it. We do not have a Candyland game or anything like that. And actually, just to mess with it, I'm going to put spacing in there. Make sure it doesn't get messed up by spacing. Puerto Rico is also good. I enjoy San Juan also. Ooh, what happened? Actual 0. It couldn't handle that on the first space. Because we did a start by and we didn't trim. Okay. Well, I'm not super concerned about that one, to be honest. Ooh, didn't like that even. Okay, so this one doesn't like that. Let's, you know what? I want this to work. We're gonna trim that sucker. Because why not? Trim. We don't care about your spaces. Fury of Cracula. Cracula sounds like a more interesting game than Dracula. S&B. Mysterium! Yeah, I've got Mysterium. Mysterium's like 10 feet behind me right now, S&B. Also a very good game. Alright, there we go. So, adding some tests for game policy. There we go. Publish that, publish that. Brave Cobra, I shouldn't have to trim on the players because of the fact that we did a split on their filter, so that should already work just fine. I can add the test just to confirm, but because we did a split and removed empty entries, it should have gotten rid of that. Jen's Duck, hey, welcome. Smart ASCII, yeah, Cracula. Oh god. Thanks, Smart ASCII. I did take a cursory look at some people claim deception, murder in Hong Kong or places Mysterium. I don't know, because my game group don't play it. Oh, Fuel Snable. I have heard of that also, and I really want to play it. Heard a lot of great things. For anyone who didn't guess based on this conversation, I am a bit of a board gamer. I do enjoy the occasional game. But I hope everybody does. They're fun. Nice light activities to get your mind off of things, to do something enjoyable. Game records index. Here we go. So here is the ugly code that we wrote forever ago when we first decided to take a look at trying to wire some stuff up with Vue. And we did some just literal, like, double curly brace stuff instead of doing all of our binding the way we should have. V for player on all players, V bind value. V on click, we record game played. Okay, this should be a method somewhere. Function, console log, hi there, post, games record index, game ID, players, winners, teachers, very cool. So we wired up a lot of this stuff already. Captain Sonar. Oh, that sounds familiar, Fuel Snable. I do wonder if that's anything like some of the other ones that have a lot of coordination. There's actually a video game that I played a long time ago that, what's it called? Artemis? Artemis? Bridge Simulator? I think this is what it is. This one. This is a fantastic game. Not a board game. This is an actual, like, video game thing. I don't know where they have, like, they don't, like, they should show it. Yeah, here it is. So, it is actually like a cooperative game. So these screens that you're seeing, this is the helm view, this is the weapons view, this is science. So each player has a different view as you play the game. So communications, so everybody's got different views while you play the game. It's really cool. It's like a team coordination thing. It's really awesome. Some people claim this. It's a 4x4 submarine game. Brave Cobra, yes, this is View. Yes, View. Yep. That is the plan, is to make this View. Right now, we just have our code down on the bottom of the page. Go ahead and ignore that. Data gameplay, selected players, all players, blah, blah. So this is where our game data came from right now. We are going to fill this in from calls to those APIs that we just discussed. What a surprise! I know, no one guessed that. Does Brendan do game dev? Also, that game sounds fun. Sirlash, I think the game is very fun. I've played it at a bunch of events, and it is very, very good. I own a copy of an old version. I probably need to buy a copy of a new one to still play it. I have not done any game dev for any companies. I've done small little side projects like that before, so I've done various little stuff. So that's about all my game dev stuff, Sirlash. Is just indie stuff that I've done. No actual company things. What do you like, Vue versus Angular and React? So, Will, I guess the short answer on that one is I thought Vue just looked nicer, so I wanted to dig into Vue here. That was pretty much it. Style, preference. I looked at a handful of them. I've used Angular in the past a bunch, and I was like, I like the way Vue looks. I like the way it binds. I like the way it sets things up. We're going to go with Vue, so hence I went with Vue. So I don't have a good answer on here. That, like, legitimately, it was just, oh yeah, I like this. So, personal preference. There's nothing wrong with any of them. If you like Angular, if you like React, awesome. It's always hard to... because he pronounces Vue as View and uses it for views. Yes, exactly, Wheatlall. It made sense. What if code of... Okay, so what if the code of a colleague sucks? How much does it suck? Are they breaking things all the time? Or is it just their code could be better? Vue is nice. Also, you can't really compare React to either of them, JSX versus DOM-based markup. Yeah, so that's one of the weird things, is they don't all work the same way. So it is definitely hard to compare Vue, React, and Angular, although they're all trying to solve a similar they're solving a similar need, I should say. Okay, so it's hard to read code. So that actually gets into a very, very difficult area to be in. If you don't like the style of your colleague's code, it's a challenge, because if it's just you that doesn't like it, or if it's like everybody complains about it all the time, then that's a different story. Because if you have a lot of people that have issue with the way that someone's code is, that can be something that you guys can try to talk with them about. What you don't want to have is, you do not want to have that come up as an attack on them. So you don't want it to seem like you're a group of people that are ganging up on him. So you need to avoid that, because that won't work well for you. So there's your short answer. But if that colleague recognizes that his or her code is not very good, then I guess the best answer for that one is, if they recognize it also, then what you're able to usually do is set up some kind of a review process or something like that. So if all your code comes in through a PR, it's much easier to make sure that the code ends up getting cleaned up before it gets to everybody else. So, because that kind of puts in a barrier. So, in some organizations I've worked in, what has worked well for us, what we've found that we like, is doing pull requests where anyone on the team can review it. So, anyone It's not a gatekeeper. It's not like if the lead doesn't okay it doesn't go through. It's someone else has to read your code and just say, yep, I approve, and then it can get included in the code base. So that at least gets the barrier that one other developer said, yeah, I can read and understand that code well enough. So does that make sense? Because if, in addition, if you can get that as a team, then, and everybody agree to it and say, like, hey, this is our standard, this is what we want to go to, we want to try to get our code, nicer, that's an approach to do it. So one suggestion I could make to you is if you identify something that you are doing wrong, so if you then say, like, hey, I'm often committing these things and I'm not naming my classes very well or something like that, then you guys will get the chance to review and help me fix that if I try to put in something that has a bad name. So make sure that you point out that you're putting this in for your own sake as well, because all of us could use a little bit of review from someone else. So try to get a consensus to introduce a coding standard such as a style cop. Yes, as Simon says, exactly. Make sure you get consensus to make some kind of a policy change that can actually help. How can I learn design patterns? Can you give the most design pattern used? Lags. So my quick answer to learning design patterns. So first off, I'm planning on doing some streams or videos or content or something like that on design patterns. However, if you enjoy reading books, take a look down below the stream, and you will actually find in the panels below, there is a widget down there that has a list of recommended reading. It also has a list of streaming stuff, but if you just look at the recommended reading section, you'll find a book in there called Head First Design Patterns, and I highly recommend it to anybody who's interested in learning design patterns. It's very, very good. Brave Cobra pointed out the exact thing that I was kind of getting at, which is if you're going to implement some kind of a policy about coding standards and things like that, you got to remember that all of us need those checks. My code's not great. If someone comes along and wants to fix up my code, fantastic. That's wonderful. My code is not me. They are not saying Brendan is deficient as a person. They're just saying, hey, that code could have been better, and I improved it. And I am grateful when they do that. So, and Fuel Snable is not wrong. Big Ball of Mud is the most used design pattern. Adapter, Facade, Proxy are quite common. Visitor is common. You will find a lot of others as well. So, there are plenty of good design patterns out there if anyone wants to take a look. Recommended reading. Yes! Hey, thank you for the follow. Glad you're enjoying the stream. Yes, we try to have fun conversations and write some code while we're doing it. The key design patterns is to learn not everything is a nail just because you learned how to use a hammer. Yeah, so Simon is actually pointing out one of the most important things to understand about design patterns for anyone that's learning them. There are stages of understanding a design pattern, where stage one is, I don't know that, I've never heard of this design pattern. Then you get, I've heard of this design pattern, but I don't know it. And then there's, okay, I understand this design pattern, how it works. And once you get to that point, a lot of times you're going to start seeing that design pattern can be applied almost anywhere. And if you try to apply it, that doesn't always work out well for you. So you need to make sure that design pattern really should go there, and you're not just doing it because it can fit there. You're putting it there because it actually helps there. And so then that's like the last point that you need to get to, is where you understand when you shouldn't use that design pattern. So that's one of the best things, is figuring out that balance. Yes, I am standing, so I can step over here, I can walk over here, I can do one of these. Whoa. How's it going? Hey, there we go. Doop. So, yep, you don't always use design patterns, only when extensibility is needed. That's a good description there, Will. The trick is to identify the problem, not the solution. Exactly, Brave Cobra. And don't use a chainsaw to put a nail into a piece of wood. Occasionally he steps on a cat. I do not usually step on a cat. The cat is usually climbing my leg. Okay, so we need to wire this up based on some changes if we want to get this in here today. So let's take a look at this page real fast. Not that page, this page. Players in game. Here's what I'm thinking. So first off, Players in game. Players. So that is the list here. I don't even know why I've got these set up this way, but whatevs. Occasionally I do things that make no sense. Don't mind that. Feel free to call me on it, though, and I'll try to fix it. So... Derp. Wait, what? Let's go to that again. There we go. Alright, so that is, we're going to say, instead of players in game, this is going to be choose players, and then this is going to get the label players in game. Players in game, there we go. Choose players. John Cena. We had a lot of John Cenas, okay? Yeah, I do. I actually enjoy standing for a lot of reasons. I have a lot more energy when I'm standing. I get really kind of slothy if I sit down, so I don't sit down. This standing desk has not. It can lower, but I haven't lowered this standing desk in about a year. So is this ASP? This is ASP.NET Core. So this is the current version of ASP.NET Core. It is lightweight, it is quick, it's got a lot of cool stuff. Speaking of design patterns, this is YouTube data oriented programs, exclusive design patterns performance, but at the end has slimy design patterns but use mediocre programming for mediocre code. That is really kind of funny, Fuel Snable. I guess I could see it. I know some people that are against design patterns, but yeah, well, so that's the funny thing is, like, sometimes, like, when I'm with groups of people, I'll just remain standing, and they'll be like, hey, why aren't you sitting down? I'm like, I'm actually more comfortable standing. Like, I'll get comfy and sit down sometimes, especially if my legs get sore, but for the most part, I'd rather stand. When I travel and have to sit a lot, I get really, like, wound up because I'm used to moving around. Okay, so that's choose players, but I don't want that to be a drop down. I kind of want that to be a search box. So instead of being a select like this, I kind of feel like this should be a search box. So what is this going to be? An input? What is it? It's text input. It is a V on. There's a V on change. Sorry, I haven't messed with these in a while. Placeholder is that or something? Oh, okay, hang on. It's really good as a presentation, but he fails to realize he is teaching design patterns. That's funny, Fuel Snable. What's the first checkbox? A boolean? And yeah, so, I'm guessing Izik? Yeah, so I need to... I'm going to put labels on them. Don't worry, we're getting there. Search box with autocomplete. Brave Cobra, we could autocomplete it. But I'm not sure how many results there are going to be, so I wasn't planning on bringing them all back, but I guess we could. And actually, do we want... Ooh, maybe. We'll decide on that one. Yeah, so we need to label what those checkboxes are on our list of players right now. Because right now it's just that. We could definitely nice those up, but I want to display them differently, actually. So I want to put some kind of a CSS class on them to make it a little bit nicer. So So let's do this. Type checkbox. What is this? Actually, that class needs to be dependent on something, because we're going to change what it looks like. Because I want this to be like, you click it, and it doesn't look like a checkbox, it's just like a one lost kind of thing. So you click it to change which one they have. Something like that. I want it to look nice. Be all fancy. So, after the text, we need to have some kind of a list of results. An unordered list of results with list items. These are going to be bound to something, some kind of data. It's not going to be all players. So this is going to be a v4 player in filtered players, player dot first name and yes, I know we're still doing the two names thing. Don't worry about that for now. Never liked F sharp for me is unever clear. Too much in Alright, so here we go. We have that list. Filtered players needs to come from somewhere. That needs to be triggered in some way based on whatever we call unchanged here. So we're going to call this search players. So let's make search players. So we have add new player and we have record game played. So search players is going to be a function that, okay, so here's what it's going to do to start. We're going to console log A, B, C. A, B, C. I'm not sure what's going to happen when I do that. We're going to find out. I guess I could just... What? Searching. So that's A, B, C. Did I do anything wrong with my code? I don't think I did. If you don't know if you've installed, I highly recommend the Vue Developer Tools add-on. Sirlash, you talking about this one right here? This Vue Dev Tools add-on? That one? If so, then yes, it's right there. So right about there. Oh, actually, maybe that shows them in events. I don't remember. Is it console logging it, or is it blowing up? Filtered players is not defined. Oh, whoops. Derp. That's true. I didn't add this collection. What's players used for? Do we use that above anywhere? Players, players. What's selected players then? I thought selected players was the... Oh, we're temporarily using that for that one? Selected player. Well, that's weird. Unchanged placeholder, players. Okay. Alright, so... yes. In the end of the discussion of what language is best relevant when we're doing JavaScript again. Yeah, some people definitely think that JavaScript is going to be the language we're all using forever, but we'll see if that happens or not. JavaScript is a perfectly fine language. I don't mind coding in it. Value, record game. Now that we don't have that error. Searching object event undefined. Cool. Okay, so those values didn't actually get used, so this only actually has one parameter. Sirilash, WebAssembly. I'm looking forward to WebAssembly. I think there'll be some awesome stuff with that, not that I'm planning on actually writing in WebAssembly, so that's the event. And welcome, thanks for clicking that follow button, it's always appreciated. We are actually nearing in on our 2048 followers here. We're getting close. I don't know if you all have seen that here on the channel. I don't know if you all noticed, but 1983, that is a ton of followers here. So we're actually getting close to hitting 2048, so that'll be awesome when we do actually get to that point. Lots of fans of the channel so far. So glad to have everybody here and enjoying the stream. Game records, let's scroll down here. I want to toss a breakpoint in here, because I actually want to take a look at that event object. Yeah, I know I could go read the documentation, but occasionally I just like to read the event. I just like to actually see what's on it. And this was not actually showing me the events. So, recording? Is this actually going to do them? Now that I think about it, let's take... I'm going to watch in view first. We'll put that breakpoint back in a second. Nope. It's not seeing the events. Okay. So in that case, back to sources, I'm going to drop that breakpoint back in there. So we're going to have that, and some new letters. E is trusted, type change, current target. What else is on A? Type, target, net value. Interesting. Oh, cool! So it has all the stuff about whether it's a bubbled or a, so which type of event trigger we're actually having. That's fun. It's like a full event object. I was hoping for the actual, like, object that changed when we did the onChange there. I thought Vue might give me that. Well, in that case, we'll just bind the object and not worry about it. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to say player filter. So we're going to bind that to player filter. That's what that value is going to be. So now search players. Hang on, so it's going to be vModel on it, right? I totally lost my spot. I can't actually find it. Alright, there it is. I don't know why I could not see the code there. I was like looking around, I'm like, I don't actually see it. Alright, so player filter should be there. So now, when we run this, inside of that method, searching for player filter, we're going to do that. Whoops. Bring up the debugging. Player filter is not defined. Wait, what? Really? I thought I defined it. Maybe I... Player filter? Right there? Did I not define that? What? Oh, derp. Yeah, sorry, my bad. Sorry. Derp. Oh, man. Yeah, it is JSteph, sorry. Alright, there we go. Hey! Almost like we know what we're doing here for a second. Alright, this player filter, doing that. That works great. So we're looking for that. So now, to do, call web API controller. I'm going to put that in there for now. So we need to call the web API controller, and then what do we want to do? We want to this dot player filter. I'm going to reset the player filter every time. Even though it's possible you might be like, oh yeah, you know, I want to get a whole family all at once. I kind of want to just clear it out because I don't want to have the full list. So we'll do that, and then I wonder if there's an easy way to tell it not to do a search if this is empty. Declare today is derp day. No. Today is actually view day, and that is because Monday rhymes with view day. Wait, was it player filter? I guess we could rename it to players filter. Yep, that's the one. Get that too. Thank you. Did I get this one down here? Players? Nope. Thanks, thing. If you ever want a read how this works. Oh yes, Cyrilash, yes. No one wants to look up how this works in JavaScript. It will drive them mad. Okay, cool. So we got that wired up. We have first and last name, game played, model only, and we come up here. We have that. We now need, instead of this, we want to have a list of players show up, and we'll click add on them. So, our list players, filtered players. So let's just do this real fast. So we're gonna say where are these guys? There they are. Love it. Alright, so filtered players. That is terrible. This dot filtered players. And actually, we shouldn't do it that way. We're gonna do this. Push. New guy on here. ID equals 11, and name is Brendan. Brendan Smith. So that's our to-do, call that. But for now, just to confirm that assuming we did get data after we called this, come back, Brendan Smith is our option, so that works out well. We then want to have some kind of an add button on the end. In order to make that actually do something useful, So we're going to make a button. And it's going to be a on click. That'll be add new layer. Ish. Except it's really not going to be add that one. So it'd be, well, we're going to call that select player for now. Select players not defined. Cool, got it. Not worried about it, guys. I know that doesn't exist. Because it's going to work a little bit differently than our add new player did, and that's the reason I did that. Function. There we go. And this will do nothing for now. Cool. This will not clear out the list when we do that. You should be able to use the synthetic sugar for @click. Synthetic sugar. Syntactic sugar? This will default to the smallest scoped one, but also works in the broader the smallest scoped one is applicable. Welcome everybody that just followed. Much appreciated. Glad we got some new people here. I remember a trick to keep track of this doing this dot that equals this. Yeah. Exactly. You can say that equals this, and then your that's your this at that point. It's, ugh. Big pain, but hey, it works sometimes ish. So. That's weird. We selected a player like that and did that. That's strange. I don't know if I like that. How do I get the index? For player I in players. View. Hang on. View for index. And welcome. Well, we had who showed up? Zero Quad, Doman, and Zoki. Welcome. Yes, Will Bennett. Credits might be long today, but welcome everybody. Glad to see you're all here. Hope you're all enjoying the stream. If you haven't yet clicked that follow button, go ahead and do it. Zoki, hey! I just noticed something awesome on your little handle there. I'm gonna either make a friend or an enemy right now by spamming that in the chat on my other account. Alright, for items in that, how do I grab the... I want the index. I don't remember how to get the index. For item index. Okay, so that's how you do it. Alright. So, index is the second parameter. I recall there being a third one that we could potentially get, but I don't remember what that one is. Value. Ooh, wait. Value key. Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, what? 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 Oh, that's if you're propertying. Oh, okay, never mind. Yes, if you're doing a property instead of going over an array. Never mind. I am sane again, everybody. I am sane again. I was confused there for a moment. I am sane again. Alright, oh, yeah, see? There you go, see? But we don't have to be enemies. Wait, what? Kind of stool pinner. I'm kind of sane again. Kind of sane, sorry. Sorry, everybody. Yeah, I'm only kind of sane now. So instead of saying player ID index. Hey, Zoki with the Twitch Prime sub. Much appreciated. Yeah, there's no Overwatch League going on, so you might as well toss the Twitch Prime over this way. I do not have I did not pick up the All Access Pass this year. I was really hoping that they would get us a, I'm in the Great Lakes area. I was hoping they would get us a Chicago team or a Columbus team. As you might know, MLG has a stadium in Columbus where they do some events, so that's one reason why I thought they might have done Columbus. But I would not mind a Chicago team, but they did not get us one. So, disappointed. So, I want to have an add-on click. I forget how to do that in Vue. It has been a while. View, button, pass, parameter. I want to, how to view, yes, a view click. How do you pass that again? View click, oh, I guess I could call it that. I thought they had a nicer way to do that. Is there not a nicer way to do that? Okay. So just call it as JavaScript method. Okay. Well, that's disappointing. And as I recall, this might be. Is this a one-based index? Is this a one-based index? Yeah, Zoki, it is expensive to set up the teams. So why is there no PowerShell of it? Fuel Snable, I use PowerShell on this channel on the regular. I use that in my Git shell all the time. I think I can scrap Vue from my to-do list now. So Wheatlaw doesn't like Vue apparently. Hey, Wheelspin, welcome. Select player I think it's one-based. I think it is. We're gonna find out. Because that's the only one we can pass right now. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna refresh this page. Then we're gonna come down here and we're gonna click on, not there. Select player. Derp. I forgot to do this. Refresh this page. It should be in the console log. Okay, I still caught that breakpoint. That's fine. Nope, never mind. It was 0. We're good. I don't want it to actually do what it did, but yeah. So I seem to recall there being a way to stop that by saying something along the lines of click.stop or something. Hey, no problem, Zoki. In that case, I have not scheduled our next one, but you should take a look at our Learn to Code in C# series, where we actually do start at a beginner level, and that would be a good thing to do so you can follow along. So we do follow along episodes on those where we're going to start out with a base solution and just write some code together, usually console apps, the occasional web app, but something that, like, you know, anybody, regardless of skill level with C# can come in and just write some code in. Alright, let's see if I got that to stop. Good. Page did not reload that time, I don't think. Or did it? Was that a full page reload? Yeah, there's something weird going on when I do that. We're gonna have to look at that. Either way, not too worried about it. Whip, wiring up new features for the, what is this? Game records. New features for the game. Wiring up new features? No. Controls UX. New UX for game records. Okay. We're going to push that up. Yeah, I'm just doing a page reload, which I'm going to go fix some other time. Yes, you are. I believe you are correct, DJ. Djeeb? Guessing? And if I'm ever mispronouncing your name, even if it's funny, feel free to let me know, and I will try and say it better the next time. Obviously, I do the best I can. We have a lot of people from a lot of different countries, so pronunciation's difficult when you when you try to get a lot of different languages all in one spot. Anyway, though, removed true and false. Oh, yeah. Use over here, true and false, because the E was the same. So clearly, that's all that changed. Good catch there, Wheatlaw. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Okay, so things that I want to talk about. So this coming Saturday, because I want to mention it, we're going to have a guest on the stream pair programming with us. So that'll be on Saturday. We have not chosen our topic yet. It might not be a solid Saturday. Don't throw stuff at me because it might not be a solid Saturday. However, it should still be a lot of fun. Mike Eaton is a very cool guy. You may have seen him lurking around in the channel from time to time. He's a smart guy, and we are looking forward to coding with him and chatting with him on Saturday. For anyone who doesn't know, and you are new to this channel, first off, make sure you click that follow button so you get notified when we go live. But second, we do 4 streams every week here on this channel. Occasionally, we do have to cancel a stream or 2. And I try to make sure I let you all know that well in advance so that you are not surprised by that. But if you do want to see what our schedule is, and you happen to know where you live, you can go ahead and tell our bot where you live, roughly speaking. So, for example, you could say schedule in Ohio, or schedule in actually, we're just going to say California. California. So if you live in California, that's what it is. And if you live in Norway, that's what the schedule is. So you can use our schedule command to find out if you're not one of those 3 that I just put in there. And it will try to figure out where you are and get you back that information. But if you attempt to troll it like Will Bennett is, you're not going to get anything useful out of it. Hawkeye, welcome. Thank you for the follow. And so what I was going to say is we're going to be doing some interesting streams. I need to schedule some of our events that we're going to be doing. So the Learn to Code series that I mentioned earlier is one of our events. We invite beginners to show up and code along with us. We do everything in VS Code. So it's lightweight, it's easy, we do stuff in C#. The reason we use VS Code is not because we think that everyone should be using VS Code, although we do love it. The reason is that installing VS Code is pretty easy for someone, even if they don't have any other development tools installed. If you want to follow along with us using Visual Studio because you already have that, you are welcome to do so. Everything we do in VS Code will work just the same in Visual Studio, or really whatever editor you have, as long as you have .NET Core installed. We make sure that we get instructions for that so that you can follow along. If you are interested in chatting with me or any of the other people that are here in the chat, a lot of the people that watch DevChatter on a regular basis are in our Discord, and if you want to chat with us about programming-related stuff while the stream is not going, that is the place to do it. If you've never heard of Discord before, Discord is a chat application, so think Slack but for gamers and Twitch streamers instead of for people in businesses. And thank you for that follow, by the way. If you're looking for the follow button, it is probably a heart icon above the stream, somewhere around there. Yes, Will Bennett, some people are not on Discord. But, you know, we don't hold that against you. If you don't want to join Discord, that is totally cool. We try to be a friendly place here. We try to be open to everybody that comes in and make things fun. If you're interested in contributing to any of our projects here, we actually have all of our source code is pushed out to GitHub. 2 knots is true. Oh, you're not on Discord. Yeah, thank you, Will Bennett. You're on Discord? Yeah. Oh, yeah, we got you to join Discord. You eventually caved. I forgot that. Anyway, at the beginning of the stream, we actually reviewed and merged in a pull request that was sent to us by JSteph, and that got merged in. So thank you, JSteph, for getting us that pull request that we merged in today. If you want to see any of our old videos to see how our projects got to how they are, some of them are here on Twitch, on the Twitch video section, so you can check the video tab here. But if you don't find it there, the archive of all of our past streams is actually out on YouTube, so you can find them all there. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my name is @Brandonius, and if you want to follow just DevChatter stuff, DevChatter_ is the place to do that. If you are interested in supporting the channel, the best ways you can do that is to subscribe, or you can support us by becoming a patron on Patreon. We also have awesome merch if you are interested in being awesome like I am, and you can get our sweet I'm Codin' Derpy Chatosaurus stuff. We have mugs, we have various other things, stickers and the like, which you can check out as well. Other things that I want to mention. So tomorrow our stream is going to start at 2 o'clock. We are probably going to be doing a kata or programming exercises. It should be a lot of fun. We're hoping you join us for that. It'll start same time this one started, which is about 3 hours before the current time. And let me click a button on my stream deck. So, is that a see-through mug? Yes, Brave Cobra. It is a see-through mug. Good timing, OzCoder. So, I want to make sure that I thank S&B and me and Stoolpenner for helping out moderating the channel. We had a whole bunch of people that followed us today. So, thank you to all of these wonderful individuals who decided to click that follow button and join the Cool Kids Club and get notifications when the stream goes live, so they don't miss our next one. And then also Zoki and Brandonius, thank you very much for the resub and the sub respectively. No, reverse flip that. But thank you both, which one of which is me, but thank you, me and Zoki, for subscribing today. Always appreciated. Ancient Coder, yes, you have a good one as well. Everybody else, your mug will not fine print. Your mug will not be transparent. Your mug will only be transparent if you hold it in front of a green screen or similar thing and use chroma key to remove that color. So green gets removed from everything here on the stream on my side. So, for example, I have this nice invisible cube right here. So see, invisible cube. Ooh. So anyway, we will be streaming again tomorrow, so I will see you all in 21 hours. Set your clock, set yourself a reminder. Be there, it'll be fun. We're going to write some code together. So happy coding, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.